Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our monthly coffee hour for the month of June here. This is hopefully our last um, virtual coffee hour. We look to hopefully start resuming in-person coffee hours in the weeks ahead here. But I hope everyone is doing well. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. I always look forward to these events. And so just glad to be able to connect with everyone. But again, just kind of the same formula as the months before. We're live on all of our social media platforms, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, I believe today. And so if you can, please, if on whatever respective platform you're watching on, please sign in. There's a spreadsheet pinned to the chat. If you could just sign in, that'll just help us collect some information on knowing what times work well. We're trying a new time today, so would love just the feedback on if this works for everybody. But again, as always, we'll be taking questions. So if you do have questions, feel free to also put those in the chat. My staff is working tirelessly in the background to make sure that I don't mess up too bad. But we'd love to try to answer as many questions as we can today. And we look forward to the discussion. So yes, please sign up. And before we kind of get into the Lansing side of things, we'd love just to talk about what's happening in the district and where we've been spending some time. So recently, we just passed National Gun Violence Awareness Day. That was actually on June 4th. I actually wore orange, which is the color to support National Gun Awareness Day. It's hard to look good in orange. I tried my best. I found an old orange tie, but more importantly, was very, very proud to stand in solidarity. As many of you know and have followed my campaign, it's an issue that I speak very passionately about. It's something that I think that we absolutely need to work on and find reform for. And so I am excited to be working on a package of bills which would just help further enhance our background checks and red flag laws. And so it's an issue that affects so many Michigan families, regardless of political belief. And so we have lost just so many innocent lives to senseless gun violence. And so really hope that we can make strides in that arena. And so I will always be fighting hard to represent us and our voice in Lansing on that issue. Also, over this past weekend, I had the pleasure of joining the first ever Juneteenth celebration at the Canton Arts Warehouse. I do sit on the board of the Partnership for the Arts and Humanities in Canton. And so it was the first time we were able to put on an event to commemorate Juneteenth. So we actually partnered with Jack and Jill, the Ypsilanti chapter of Jack and Jill, and just had a phenomenal event that was put on by their team members. And so the event was organized by their team members and facilitated. And it was just a whole host of different art forms that were on display, from spoken word to music to art. And so it was just a really great event. It's absolutely something that doesn't receive the awareness that it needs. So I was happy to be a part of that and just to support the phenomenal work that both Jack and Jill are doing. The Arts Warehouse, which is located on Cherry Hill Road, on the west side of Cherry Hill Road in Canton. And so if you haven't stopped by there's a number of artisans who have found home there. And so there's a lot going on. And so there's always something happening at the Arts Warehouse. So that's also a place to check out if you are around town. But again, just a great event. And the art display is actually on until the end of the month. And so if you weren't able to make it, there's still time to make it down to the Arts Warehouse. Separately, I was also able to take a tour of the MIAT College of Technology in Canton, and I was just blown away by the work that's happening there. They are the Canton campus in particular is just doing phenomenal work in the area of producing talent for aircraft maintenance, energy, wind, HVAC. And so they've partnered with leading organizations across the country, really, but really to to start just developing talent in these various fields. And so all their students receive job offers. A lot of them have job offers before they graduate. A lot of them have multiple job offers before they graduate. And so, as everyone has learned, sometimes a 4-year degree is not for everybody. This offers an alternative career path that is extremely viable. You come out with a lot less debt than a lot of traditional 4-year colleges, and have just a pathway to a really successful career. And so it was really cool to see what's happening there. I serve on the energy committee in the legislature, and so it was great to kind of see where we're heading from the policy side and speak to people who are living it in the real world here, and just to see those use case applications to kind of the work that we talk about in Lansing. So very exciting things happening in our own backyard, and a very cool career path for those that may be interested. Also, we in Lansing, just the other day, we were able to have the 2nd annual Indian American Legislative Day. So that was kind of cool to be a part of that event. Worked with some colleagues to get that organized. Brought in just community members from all across the state, and so it was cool just to celebrate that diversity, and just to advocate for just more diverse opinions at the table. So very cool to be a part of that as well. And so I was not able to make it, but congratulations to all of our graduates, our high school graduates here in the class of 2021. We've had a number of ceremonies in our district. So just this past weekend were the PSEP ceremonies. A couple weeks ago was the Belleville high school ceremonies. I've had the ability to, or the good fortune, I should say, to attend a number of various events for graduates and scholarship ceremonies and things of that nature. And so I've had a chance to speak with a number of the students who are graduating. It's just obviously been a very tough last couple of years for many levels, but high school students have bore the brunt of a lot of the sacrifice, and whether it's not being able to participate in high school sports or seeing just other social activities canceled, and then obviously just having to adjust to the way they learn and switching to virtual platforms. And so had a lot of change, and so it's been really cool to see how this class has come together to evolve and to adapt to kind of what was required of them, and to still just graduate and move on to really cool, exciting opportunities. There's a spectrum of career paths that people have planned, but I'm sure that everyone's going to be very successful in what they choose. I wish the class of 2021 just an abundance of success in their future endeavors here. But it's always great to see our future leaders and see what they have planned. So it's been a pleasure just to get to all the events that I've been able to meet various students here. In June, adding to the list of all these exciting things that are happening in June, as many of you know, is also Pride Month. So I want to say Happy Pride Month to all of our LGBTQ members and allies. And so this is a fight that, again, just from no shortage of some of the other things we were talking about earlier today, that just is something that we've been fighting for a very long time, and that I hope that we can continue to make strides in. But just really happy to be a part of some initiatives happening locally here. I know that there's some events possibly being planned here locally, and if those go through, I'll surely be attending those and speaking up. But happy to always to be a proud ally and fighting to knock down systemic bias that does exist. And so happy Pride to everyone in the LGBTQ community. And so with that, kind of switching gears to Lansing news a little bit. So we're still in the midst of budget season. So kind of the second quarter here is very heavy on budget negotiations. So the Michigan State Budget Director and the legislative appropriation leaders in both the House and the Senate have begun the process of setting spending targets for each program. So this was part of a deal that the legislature made with the governor back in May. So I don't sit on the Appropriations Committee. And so I've talked about in a couple of my coffee hours. So when you come in, I don't think there's a hard, fast rule, but generally people either pursue a policy track or an appropriations track. And so I'm on the policy side where I sit on a couple committees such as the Energy, the Transportation, and the Agriculture Committee. And so with that being said, I'm not involved in some of these appropriations discussions and budget discussions that are happening right now. But once they're in their final form, they will hit the House floor, and then that's when I will be able to vote on those budgets. But it's really important for us to pass these budgets as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Schools, local governments, just need to know how much money that they will be working with, and so they'll be able to plan their budgets accordingly. And so, I'm obviously committed to supporting appropriation bills that actually address the issues that have been proliferated during COVID, and that just maintain the priorities of Michigan's working families. And so, we're in a really good position to invest in our future, really like never before. So whether it's our schools, just good jobs, clean water, or small businesses, we're just looking to finally fix our crumbling infrastructure. We anticipated just a few months ago, we were anticipating a multi-billion-dollar loss and being in a deficit. And so fortunately, those estimates were off and we were wrong. And so we are actually going to be preparing for having a multi-billion-dollar surplus. And so it puts us in a good position to really combat some of these systemic issues that have existed for a very long time. And so, it's better to be forming a budget with a surplus. I do know that. And so, I look forward to decisions that are going to be made, again, to kind of be tackling some of the key issues that do exist across our state here. But I did want to take a moment to thank the individuals who reached out to our office to share your thoughts, your concerns, your priorities for this year's budget. I can tell you truthfully, like your opinions and experiences are really important for crafting legislation and provide just a tremendous insight as while me and my office kind of make our decisions in terms of how we're going to vote and what our priority is going to be. And so we absolutely love hearing from all of our constituents. And so please continue to reach out with your thoughts and concerns. And so as some of you may have seen, Governor Whitmer has been announcing funding priorities in recent weeks. So, as we're kind of moving along the budget here, some clarity is being provided. And so, just kind of setting the ground here that the federal government, just as a reminder, that the federal government has appropriated $6.5 billion to the state in pandemic relief, which is partially why we do have this budget surplus. But in order to use it, the legislator needs to approve these dollars to decide where this funding will go. But the unfortunate thing is the legislator has not approved this. So this money is still sitting on the table unused. Won't kind of get into all of the politics right now, but there is a lot of gamesmanship and political theater being used with this money. I've been very outspoken that is just wrong on many levels. When we're talking about taking care of Michigan's working families, talking about providing relief for childcare and public education, those are things that should be held in very high regard and should not be involved in political theater. We should not be messing with our kids or their kids' future or the kids' health to prove a political point. And so I'm very disappointed that this money has still not been allocated, but we are fighting every day to hopefully get to a point where that money will be released. So there's been a lot of proposals for things that we can do. So the governor recently talked about the Great Start Readiness Program with the goal of ensuring that 22,000 more children are enrolled in preschool and early education here in Michigan. The proposal would use roughly about $250 million federal dollars and $150 million of state funds over the next 3 years to ensure that roughly 65,000 eligible 4-year-olds can attend this programming. And so again, we just have unique opportunities right now to make the right investments, especially in education and in preschool. So because that will obviously pay dividends to improving health, educational, social outcomes for children decades down the line. And so as a parent myself to two small boys, I understand the burden of childcare firsthand. I understand just how much of an albatross this is for Michigan families. And so, whatever we can do to improve access and affordability of childcare is something that I will be fighting for. And so, just as important of getting kids into preschool, it's equally important to finding childcare solutions for every family here. And so, actually earlier today, which is why I'm a little dressed up, or maybe a little overdressed up for this coffee hour, but earlier today, I was able to join the governor in a press conference to talk about her plan for just expanding access to childcare here in Michigan. So she plans on using $1.4 billion in federal funding to expand access to high quality childcare and to make it just more affordable. And the largest piece of this funding would go to childcare businesses in efforts to support keeping their doors open and to starve off closures. And so I've actually been working as a member of the governor's bipartisan childcare task force the last few months. And so we have some policy recommendations coming out to address issues to access to affordable childcare. And so tomorrow is actually a really exciting day for me because those bills will be introduced. There'll be another press conference tomorrow in Lansing. So we'll get to speak to kind of some of the hopeful impact of these bills. But really my specific bill is targeted in what we call childcare deserts. So Michigan, unfortunately, has a tremendous amount of areas all across Michigan where childcare is a scarcity, where the demand far outpaces supply. And so there's a variety of reasons why that is, because some of these deserts look nothing alike. And so there's various reasons. There's not just one reason why this exists, but there is one goal. The one goal there is to provide centers. And so my particular bill would provide a network and contracting solution to providers who are willing to go into these spaces. So part of that is just reimbursement through federal programs and some state monies that are available, along with some other ideas and impact that would have. But again, the goal of this package is to increase affordability and accessibility of childcare, which is just a burden for so many of Michigan's families. I have heard just so many horror stories when it comes to childcare. I've heard. I recently today was talking to a mother of three who was telling me that she is absolutely ready to go back to work, but she makes $15 an hour, and the only childcare she can find for her three children is $16 an hour, and so it's just not sustainable. And so childcare, we saw roughly 136,000 Michigan women fall out of the workforce during the pandemic, and one of the biggest drivers was the burden of childcare, which disproportionately falls on the shoulders of women. I know that that's not the case all the time. As a father myself, I know that it can impact an entire family. And so, again, this is not a issue that's specific to one type of person or political ideology. Childcare is one of those issues, and it doesn't really matter where you are, what you believe in. Childcare is and can be an issue, and so it's really important that we find solutions. Again, because this is going to help Michigan families all across the state, and so look forward to kind of seeing what we can do. I'm on a package with Representative O'Malley and Representative Breen out of Novi. And so this is kind of our first iteration of bills. We hope to be doing some more work later in the year, but we're really excited to kind of start this task force and see what we can do. And so with that, that's kind of a bulk of what's happening in the Lansing right now. Some upcoming news: the state is preparing for July 1st, which is when we're going to lift all COVID restrictions. Our team is working to plan in-person coffee hours, as I mentioned, and start meeting up in July. So it's been a bit of a discussion internally, because we've actually had a number of people reach out because the virtual option is just really accessible for a lot of people. So ultimately, we'll probably land on some sort of hybrid approach where we might do one a month virtually and one a month in person, and then rotate the in-person one, to various parts of the district to make sure that we're trying to come to everybody, close to everyone's backyard as possible at some point. But I absolutely love the coffee hours. I would do as many of these as possible as scheduling permits. But again, please feel free to reach out to our office with your thoughts. Would love to know just kind of how to schedule these, what works for everybody. But we are excited to start having some semblance of in-person coffee hours starting soon. Also, another plug for our newsletter. So please, if you haven't, sign up for our newsletter. That will be in the chat. Just how to sign up. It's you just go to the website. The link, it's just housestems.com/Puri. And then you can find the links to signing up to our newsletter. That is actually a great resource. Our team spends a tremendous amount of time just sourcing information from just various places and providing kind of an update of all of what's happening in Lansing in a centralized location. It's fairly easy to digest. It's surely more fun than listening to me. But in all seriousness, it's a tremendous resource for what's happening in the district. And it just provides links to just various resources that are available, just to our constituents. So please sign up for the newsletter. If you don't know how, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is in the corner of the screen here. But it'll also be posted in the chat, just how to email our office. And so we'd love to hear from you. And so we're kind of getting through things here, but just kind of open it up to Q&As. So in order to do this, I will bring in Ashley from my office, who's helping to facilitate just some of the questions that have been coming in. So with that, I will bring in Ashley. Hey, Ashley.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Ashley, thanks for joining.
No problem. Happy to see everybody. So our first question today comes from Yash, and he's just asking, how are you doing today?
I am, well, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Not everyone asks, but I'm doing really well. The weather's beautiful. Had a chance to do a press conference with the governor, so it's a good day so far.
Awesome. Okay. Our second question that we received is, are you supportive of the police accountability package that's going to be introduced, and what kind of things does that package address?
Yeah, that's a great question, and absolutely I am supportive of that. I'm so supportive of it that I've actually co-sponsored all 16 bills that are in that package. There are 16 bills in that package that will address various issues. I don't think it's a one-stop fix for all of the systemic issues that exist, but the bills would build trust, increase accountability, transparency, just and improve policing in a way that works. Because it's just going to ban archaic and dangerous police procedures, including no-knock warrants, chokeholds, use of force and misconduct investigations. There'll be de-escalation training, qualified immunity when officers use unreasonable force. And so, as I mentioned, I'm a proud co-sponsor of that. And I think it's an area where we need to have just a tremendous amount more discussion. And so I know a lot of various stakeholders were able to put their input. And so these are bills that I look forward to seeing kind of what happens with them. But it's the right conversation we need to be having.
Awesome. Okay. And then another question that we received was, what kind of things has your student advisory group been up to recently?
Oh, it's so much. I love bragging about my student advisory group. And so we were able to collect dozens of students across House District 21. And, it's so great leaving the monotony of Lansing behind at times and just talking to young, eclectic voices across our district here. These are students who applied to get into our program and just have brilliant ideas. And so it's just it's a perspective that's largely missing in political discourse. So I look forward. In fact, we have a meeting tonight on the topic of reproductive health. So look forward to that discussion. But we've had a number of various meetups, some heavy conversations, some lighthearted, but we have a number of activities continue to be planned. I believe that there will actually be a day of service coming up where we're kind of working out logistics, but that might be potentially something where we open that up to the public, and we'll see. But all sorts of activities happening. We try to document it on social media, but really excited to see just where we end up taking this whole thing, because this is our first iteration of the advisory group. But I'm really impressed with all the people who've joined.
That's great. So that looks like that's all the questions that we have for today.
Cool. Well, right on time. So that is great. So again, if anyone does have a question and you weren't able to get in today, not a problem at all. Feel free to reach out to our office. I know I sound like a broken record, and I say this probably every coffee hour, but we read and listen to every single constituent communication that comes in. We love being there for you. So please feel free to reach out if we can help answer any questions or concerns with anything. And so, but thank you everyone for your time today. We look forward to sharing news on just dates and details for our next coffee hour. Like I said, in July, there should be some semblance of an in-person option. We're really excited about that. But with that, hope everyone stays cool. It's really hot. And I look forward to seeing everyone in person soon.